What is going on? Day 1,050 of whatever quarantine you're living. I hope life is good. How you doing? Are people asking you that enough? How are you? Important to consider yourself, check in with yourself and see how it's going. Make sure you're getting exercise, eating good, getting lots of rest. What you may also be doing from Sound of Things is April 18th, you might watch Tony Ferguson fight Justin Gaethje. That's going to be cool if you like the fighting, which I do. A couple things quick. So I want to talk about a situation like this allows us not to just go into the formula of a conversation we have over and over. This guy's striking, this guy's grappling, this is going to be, this guy's got, these guys are action. I mean, the television formula that we've been doing. But right now, these types of situations allow us to examine. We look at things. What's the point of analyzing something? Can be for fun. We have a conversation. It's fun. We're interacting with people. Yeah, this guy's guard is badass. Yeah, but this guy never gets taken down. All that kind of shit. We can do that for fun, or we can do it because we actually want to learn something. We want to be inspired. We want to take a lesson from seeing something that happens and take that metaphor and apply it to cooking or being a dad or whatever you are into. And if we're trying to do that, this is a good time to disassemble our process. So a couple of things. One is during times of intense stress like we're in right now. Yes, Svetkovic, I did put on a jacket. It is a little cold. I have the door open. And during times of stress, we see flaws and weaknesses in our process, in whatever our processes and formulas are. So right now, we are seeing flaws in whether that is some political shit you want to get into. That's not my thing, but healthcare or government or, systems of government, systems of politics or finances. We are seeing flaws as something big happens that changes. We're like, hey, wait, that shit doesn't work all the time, right? That's true right now. It's a perfect time to allow us to look into how we examine fights and why we examine fights. So the most important variable. So I do this for a living. So almost every question somebody will ask, I will reference them, and I'm not trying to be negative. Who has the better gas tank? That immediately brings me to kind of my biggest point, and that is these are not set attributes. These are not set quantities like a video game or the way that we talk about it when I sit here and Chael sits there and fucking Jay Glazer sits over there or Michael Bisping sits there next to Anik or whoever. The way we discuss these things is we do a lot of bullshit. And the reason we do it is because that's the way it's always been done, right? These are, Matthew just said dependable variable. These are situationally specific variables, right? So somebody, again, I'm going to do this a few times. Tony has so much pressure and not fighting Khabib is mentally taxing. So pressure, that's a real thing. Tony has a bigger gas tank than Gaethje, easy. Okay. Again, Tony does not have anything. The ability for somebody to do energy, to manage energy, to use energy is a direct result of preparation. Tony, if he lays on a beach, he didn't do that. But if he laid on a beach for 18 weeks, he would not be the same as now. Gaethje, if he changed something in the way he prepared, he's not the same than then. These guys are older. These are situational and specific things. That Justin takes a lot of unnecessary damage. Again, that is specific to a small sample size of things. We do this. I'm not trying to be critical of anybody's reaction. We are all doing this because we've seen it done because that's what people do in sports, right? You said these guys running game based on these statistics against these other teams, against these guys' defenses, right? That's what sports is. But martial arts isn't that. Now, these bullshit things that we all say, I've been guilty of it since 2013 as well. I'm just now trying to find ways to break through these plateaus, right? These situationally specific things that we talk about as if they're permanent attributes. Gaethje, his defenses are this, so he gets hit like this because of this. That's not true. That we can find shit to illustrate it. So the producer will then put B-roll that matches what I'm saying about Gaethje is really hard to take down. You said your way of thinking about fighting change from 2 years ago. Do you think your way of thinking improved from 2 years ago? So I look 2 years ago, I was doing this and I had been doing this since 2012 or whatever. And I realized I was talking a lot of bullshit because as a martial artist, I know that saying somebody's submission game is X is not true because their submission game is a direct result of preparation and study. And if they decide not to do that for some amount of time the way they did before, it may degrade. If they change their mindset, for example, instead of submitting people, again, Gaethje has KO power and Tony has a high probability in getting hit and rocked in fights. All of that is untrue. KO power is not something you have. Power situations through movement, through training, through having a physicality that has very little impingement, by being relaxed and in a proper mindset, you can create knockout power that has the result of jarring the brain and causing a knockout to take place through your movement, your preparation, and your physicality. Right? So I'm kind of now, and it was 2 years ago, I was like, why do I say this guy's got knockout power when I know fully that nobody has power energy? Why do I say this? And I realized I said it because watching boxing, they always said it. Growing up, watching whatever, they said it. This guy's got a crazy chin. And I realized there is no such thing. Chin was a slang used by commentators to discuss all of the variables, how relaxed he is, how well he rolls with punches, his ability to take punches later in a fight, how much endurance he's built up in these particular situations, his history of taking punches compared to, et cetera, et cetera. Chin became a slang. But then through our use of language, chin became an attribute, although it does not exist. Now, your ability to take a punch does exist, again, situationally. Rami, first time tuning into the live broadcast. Nice to see you still at it. Been watching your videos since the Fight Network days. Thanks, man. Always appreciate your open exploration of martial arts. That means a great deal to me. It was in those Fight Network days, if you go back and you watch, me and John Ramsey, sometimes John Pollock would sit at a desk and the ball would come to me and I would say, this guy's got unbelievable crisp striking. And when he gets his feet moving, he's able to generate knockout force. Now, in these situations, this guy always defending takedowns. And if he can do this, and I realized I was just imitating the way that sports broadcasting had been done for many, many generations. Now, that created great tension in me a few years ago. And it has been through that tension that I've now deconstructed for myself. A lot of what I'm saying to other people literally is, that guy's saying a lot of stuff and I don't understand any of it, so I'll just say it's not a thing. A lot of people say that. But what I'm attempting to do is deconstruct all of the constructions of language that happen during live broadcasting that have then taught us to misunderstand what we're saying and then continue these conversations. So what the opportunity, the chance that we get right now is we can realize how nonsensical most of this is, because everything we say and everything that people are kind enough to put down here, this guy's got this, he's good at that, this guy does this too much, and compare these things, all of those things are somewhere between entirely untrue and somewhat true based on all of the situation right now. If we were to take these guys and give them 15 weeks of preparation to fight each other somewhere, Matthew, I get the philosophy and you are right, but at a certain point, the truth is simple and very complex at the same time. Deconstruction is saying the same thing in a deeper way. Deconstruction is often saying, if we believe this guy's got power and this guy's got chin, and we don't go deeper than that, we are believing in mythology. There's no such thing as a chin. Well, my chin is right here, right? But that term that we use is a slang that is used to simplify an incredibly complex idea, right? And almost every conversation that we have. Now, but what I'm getting at with this one, because the biggest variables are preparation, how hard, how long, how specialized of preparation have these guys had, and how hard they've been able to work compared to the situation of a quarantine where we're trapped in our homes. Gaethje had Drew Dober, a very, very good fighter, very different than Tony Ferguson, to be able to train with. Dustin says we love to categorize everything. We do. Humans and concrete. We like them to be something. This is this. This is this. This is this. That's that. But then we always act surprised when those things don't actually go that way. If Tony Ferguson or Justin Gaethje in round 4 became tired, a lot of what you'll hear, what you may hear, is these are two guys with the best cardio in the game. Now, first of all, where are our flaws in that conversation that allow us deeper understanding? Cardio. Let's start with that. Use of energy systems, how we use our energy and how we conserve our energy and how we recover our energy, is a number of complex systems that are all happening and can all be trained independently. So anaerobic activity is short bursts of high intensity followed by relaxation. Aerobic is going for a long run, right? View it as speaking multiple languages. This is Remy. You speak music and fighting and have those accents when you speak the language of broadcasting. Well, to me, broadcasting, sadly, has become just a ritual of imitation. Within those rituals, people find little tidbits that make it unique. But even to the point, so Joe Rogan is a friend, somebody I appreciate greatly, one of my favorite people in the whole world. And he's done a lot for me. Most of what mixed martial arts commentary is some bastardized imitation of Joe. What did Joe do? Joe took something that was very ritualistic, came from boxing or any other type of combat sport or any sport, and he changed it. He did it a different way. Joe Rogan is a martial arts expert and a comedian and sort of, an improvisational free thinker. He's many things, and he's become many different things over the course of doing this. As a result, he did it different. That was Joe Rogan's way to do commentary. But since that day, people thought that's how you do MMA commentary. Now, if Joe entered that game in 90, there would be a way that we thought UFC commentary or mixed martial arts commentary took place. And Joe was an outlier. But instead, because he came in early in the second wave or the establishing wave, people thought that's how you do MMA commentary. That's not how you do MMA. That's how fucking Joe Rogan does MMA commentary. Every single fighter, to some degree, some less than others, some more than others, use the basis of that commentary and then add their own little bits to it. You should try not, it's very difficult to not imitate people who are brilliant at things like Joe, but you should try not to, because what made him great was that he was unique. Sometimes you see something, you go, that thing is great. What is great about it is its uniqueness. So if you just imitate it specifically, you are imitating or taking the wrong lesson. It's not be like that thing, it's be unique the way that thing is unique, right? So this is where we are, and this is why we're at this stage. So as a result, the most important variables, as are always the case, which make it difficult when the light goes to me and the guy's in my ear and he says, Robin, pick up there about his striking. What I want to say is the most important variables is how healthy are they right now? Where's their mind at? Does either one of these guys have diarrhea from gaining their weight back? How much preparation did they do? What shape are they in, compared to what they could be or have been in past times? What distractions are happening? Those are all the important, but we will instead say, this guy's got unbelievable picture perfect striking, and he's a dynamic striker. And this guy's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under this guy. Those are just, they change, right? So that's what you look to do. And in this case, their preparation is everything, right? What do you think of the term counter? Is there such a thing as a non-counter puncher? I love that question. All combat is rooted in deception. And if I choose as a tactic or a strategy that I prefer to draw your fire and counter it, that's a tendency. Jose Aldo people would generalize him as a pressure fighter until he fought Frankie Edgar after moving forwards. The old concept of how Jose Aldo fought would not have performed as well against Frankie as the new concept, partially because he surprised him. Why did he surprise him? Because we believed, and Frankie, even genius Frankie and Mark Henry, who's also, by assuming that Jose Aldo was a completed piece of clay, they assumed he would behave a certain way and they prepared for that. And he didn't behave that way. And then we were all shocked, including his opponent and the coach and everybody. When in fact, if you remember, all human beings are plastic, we're malleable, our brain chemistry is, you can form brand new neural pathways in your brain. You can learn you can learn to fight entirely different at all times. You can retrain your energy system. So I was saying that about energy. Somebody was like, gas tanks. Well, that's a generalization like chin or power that we use. What's actually happening is multiple ATP, CP, anaerobic, and aerobic are three fundamental energy systems that are used in fighting. If you are a good endurance runner and I force you to sprint, you will be tired. If I'm a great sprinter and you force me to run a marathon, I will be tired. Those are all of the variables in play. Michael Bisping, and much like Tony, and through much of Tony's, he has been that middle distance sprinter, that 1,500 meter hard, 3,000 meter sprinter, which for a lot of fights is the ideal. Also, I don't care how fit you are, how good your gas tank or your car can, in 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes, you will be exhausted because you cannot run as hard as you can. What you create is a maximum capacity, and then you pull underneath it and you push it. It's called redlining. Again, a simplified way of putting it is redlining. Well, redline. So you heard Firas yelling that to George when he was fighting Carlos Condit. Redline him. Push him to the limit, push him to his red line so that fatigues you faster. The greatest runner in the world, the greatest marathon runner, if I get him to run twice as fast, he may not complete the marathon. If I get so long, he will be burned out. So we try to manipulate each other. But we say there is, because we have limited time with which to speak during commentary. You also need to learn these things, teach yourself to think this way, and then train yourself to allow it to come out the way a freestyle rapper does. That's the art of commentary. What commentary has become, instead of an art, is a formula. This guy walks out, camera goes to him, we say this, brought to you by Coordinates, this guy, tail of the tape, we say a thing, now we're saying, feeling out process, wow, those leg kicks are really gonna add up. You know, if he keeps going to the body, and we just say these things over and over again, that's not what I believe commentary is, but that is how it is executed. As a result, that's how we think. But in truth, Tony Ferguson is not anything specific. He's not like, he's great at this, bad at this, good at this, got the best at this, and all of those things are situational based on preparation, based on a lifetime of training, a lifetime of learning and life experience, combined with what he's learned and prepared in this time. This time is a different time. And this is my ultimate point that took me 18 minutes, but are you surprised? This is what I do. If you don't like what I do, it's weird that you hung out with me. But this is what I do. But ultimately, here's the issue. Whatever we say, Tony Ferguson does this, but Justin Gaethje does that. The preparation is different. The training is different. How they've compartmentalized this fight is different. Their experience of traveling, thus, they are different human beings. They are different human beings in this fight. All of these things, every aspect, being in there, wondering what's up, talking to your family, your wife is sad or scared. You know, the world is not happy about this. You know, it's people on Twitter are saying that you guys are doing a bit, whatever. All of those things can be in play. So a lot of what will come down to is will and mental strength, right? Now, again, we would be like, wow, fucking Tony's mentally strong. Look at Justin Gaethje. There's no quit in him ever. I said that to Matt Brown one time. Matt Brown is one of these guys you could put in that classification. I said, you're one of the most mentally strong fighters that the fight game has ever seen. And Matt Brown said to me, no, I'm not. There is no such thing. These are not attribute scores. These are not things that we are. These are things that we make. Matt Brown said, the day that he thinks to himself, I can fucking handle this, I'm mentally tough, he may crack. What he does is he armors up his mind and his emotions and his body through preparation, through pushing himself, through constantly pushing beyond the boundaries of what he believes he can accomplish in preparation to peak on the night that he fights. Matt Brown said, and again, I'm using him as an example because he's one of these greats, has performed as and historically been capable on these nights of being one of these mental greats. And he said, And many others will say, and when you speak with sports psychologists and sports psychology consultants and mental coaches, the real ones, the ones that do this based in mindfulness and self-knowledge, they will say the same thing, right? So we then say, well, we don't know how they prepared. The variables of preparation have made these different human beings. On the night they're different. What they are asking of themselves is, in this world as different humans, to on this night be capable of greatness. And that's fucking exciting, right? Think of that. 2 years ago, when I was like, this isn't right the way we're discussing this, it's all flawed and we're stuck here. What I was hoping to get to was a point where we started to see it different and saw that this different way of viewing these truths about preparation and about your fight being the result of all of the learning, training, and everything you've done up to it, that once we got to the situation where we understand it this way, that this would be even more exciting than comparing two video game characters and their attributes. And it fucking is. Because Justin Gaethje and Tony Ferguson have to ask of themselves something that they've never done before. Yes, they've put themselves through fire, both of them. It's fucking incredible what they have done. And they know that they have done that and can be capable of that. But on this night, in a different environment, with different preparation, with a different journey there, with different thoughts and feelings and a different than they're accustomed to, because your body is a representation again of the physical and mental preparation and the demands you put on it. So they now have a different body. Now, there will be some advantages to this. If they have trained differently, they may have less injuries. They may be more pliable. They may be more relaxed. The intensity is different. All of these variables is this fight. And it's fucking fascinating. But these are the reason that looking at it this way is so cool for this fight is because these two guys, if they watch this and they think about it, what I'm saying is true, they'll be fucking thrilled at this idea. I saw Gaethje say, I'm terrified, but that's exciting. That's who he is. Thrilled at that. There are certain, so who are you? Who are you watching this right now? Who are you? You are a result of every life experience you've ever had. Everything you've ever learned, things you've been indoctrinated with, belief systems that you have, where you've heard who's been inspiring to you, and you're all of those things right this second. But on April 18th, you will be something else. And this is the journey. This is the journey. And this is much more fucking interesting to me than that guy's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and he's prepared to got a killer guard, but this guy never gets taken down. All that speculation is TV bullshit. It's just shit we do. It's not real, right? And times like this let us see these moments and allow us, and it creates a lot of tension. A lot of people fucking hate what I'm saying right now because it's blowing up the structures through which they view something that they like, and it creates uncertainty. Wait a second, what do you mean guys don't have knockout power? That guy's knocked out a bunch of people. He creates power in these moments because of situations. Why could that guy hit that guy so hard, but on this night because it's all situational, and it's all a reflection of everything that leads up to it. And that's fucking scary. And that unnerves us. We are fragile creatures with fragile egos. We like to know that certain things are what they are. But the world that we're living in is proving to us that it is an unpredictable world of uncertainties. And if you see that, then where more could that exist than within the chaos of a cage fight? And that's why the fuck I work for Bellator. I analyze the UFC for TSN. That's why I do these things, because it's fucking thrilling. Chaos and unpredictability is not, and the fact that we don't know, that you study so long to reveal the things that you don't know and feel silly that you ever pretended to know, that is a gift. That is a gift. That is the journey. That is what we're doing here. That's why Tony Ferguson fights. That's why Justin Gaethje wants to find that out about himself. This is what we're fucking doing here, right? This is what this is. So And Justin mentioned controlled chaos. Chaos is simply patterns we do not yet understand, right? Chaos is simply patterns that we do not yet understand. But to understand them, we have to examine them based in truth. And this guy's got knockout power in both hands, and this guy's got a crazy chin, is not truth. So we cannot learn to decipher these patterns and learn the valuable lessons that can be taken away from them and applied or deployed against our entire lives, against cooking, against being a good husband. End on this as far as this goes. A lot of us are scared right now. A lot of us we feel extreme tension. That tension and the fact that these things are currently like tenuous. Here's the thing. Every minute of your life has been lived in this type of thing. You just don't realize it. You've always thought your job was stable, but it wasn't, because at any time a pandemic could have hit. You've always thought your mortgage was what it was. You've always thought that your relationships were what they were, but they weren't. You were living in this, unpredictable, chaotic world fucking 15 weeks ago. You just didn't notice it because you already live it. Every day you've ever lived, you have lived in unpredictability. You just had to trick you into believing that there was a predictability, that there was that it wasn't so confusing, and that's it. And that's it, right? You live it already, so don't be scared of it. You may notice, so that's my first thought on this. I'll go into it again, tomorrow. I'm doing a YouTube stream every day. We'll go into this a bit more. I've also, I have gone deep into Bellator as well. Deep, deep, deep. It's the root of where I'm learning right now. So of course I'm going to talk about that a lot this week too. I'm talking to Phil Davis later today. I'll spread that around a little bit. But this, what you'll notice I didn't talk about, and what I'm just not gonna. It's just not me. Everything you've heard here, some of it you think is nonsense. Some of it you're like, actually, fucking that weirdo made a point or two. Great. Either way. It's okay. This is what I do, and this is my trip. I'm just thrilled you're on it with me. Anyone that is, and there's a lot of people here. That's cool. But I didn't talk about islands where fights may or may not happen. I didn't talk about tribal lands or operating outside of things or the coronavirus as it relates, or whether these shows should be happening or shouldn't be happening. And I'll tell you why. Because that ain't my shit. It's not my jam. I practice general acceptance for the most part. I accept what is, and then I live within it in ways that make sense to me, and that I hope helps in some other ways the world around me. At the very least, not doing harm to the world around me. My opinion of whether these fights should or shouldn't happen, or what Dana is or isn't, is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. This will happen. Your judgment, your outrage, your controversy, your passion, any of those things is wasted energy. This thing will happen. If you choose not to watch it, walk away from it and deploy your energies and passion somewhere else. If you're going to watch it, there's nothing you being outraged do. And I see it. I have friends that work in fighting, and they'll be on Twitter and whatever, and they're outraged. It's crazy. It is outrage, and spending emotion in that way is inaction disguised as action. You feel like you're doing something, but you are not doing anything. You're just yelling into a crowd. It's irrelevant to me. If this fight happens, I will analyze it. The priority of my work now, the priority of where I spend my energy, especially now, I work for TSN analyzing the UFC. That's a job, but I do it for SportsCenter. SportsCenter is currently business, so I don't know if I'll be doing anything on a paid level or on a professional level regarding this fight or UFC fights for some time. I am, however, daily working in Bellator, so that affects my perspective as well. Part of me, again, I don't have an opinion. If I have one, I get rid of it because it is of no value to me. But it is what it is. Don't allow yourself to be outraged about shit like that. Just don't. Robin, question: do you think Daniel Strauss will be able to bounce back? What do you think he could do to get back to the belt? Fuck, I love Daniel Strauss. He had a rough one in the first round of the Bellator Featherweight Grand Prix, but man, I love analyzing his work. Again, the big question for Daniel Strauss or any other fighter is, what are they doing right now? Let me end on that. I know I just said end earlier, but let me end on this. We are currently in a global pandemic that, if you, I don't know how much you watch it, but the big issue of it is that it compounds. So it's like somebody's like, well, there's whatever, 60,000 global deaths, whatever. Well, it's compounding. That would be 600,000 if we didn't take certain kind of action, right? So we are in our homes right now. Of safety, then number one, be grateful. And number two, show that gratitude by improving yourself in some way. Improve yourself in some way. And then whether that is become fitter and healthier, so you'll be a better father, a better mother, a better friend in the future, or learning a skill that you can bring back to the world in 2 or 3 months when the world will be new. People are like, when's it going to get back to normal? That normal ain't never coming back. And for the most part, hopefully in good ways. Hopefully these changes are a result of, by coming in here, we look and we go, many of our systems are flawed. So as we go back, we will go and look. Somebody said my question is above. Robin, Gary V says, for everyone trying to grow a brand shirt, join TikTok. It's a great time to connect. I do have a TikTok. It's at Robin Black Bink. I do have a TikTok. I'm trying to figure out ways to make 15-second martial arts nuggets that are valuable, but it's at Robin Black Bink. Instagram at Robin Black Martial Arts. Every day I got breakdowns every single day. Twitter at Robin Black MMA. And if you want a Bink t-shirt or enjoy the hostilities or any of those, I got them right here in the basement. I'll mail them to you. You go to shoprobinblack.com. Thank you for hanging. If you enjoyed this, and I know it's a different line of thinking, there's a whole world of people. We'll talk about this tomorrow. There's something called the technology adoption life cycle. Some people love change. They love things to be deconstructed. They love to look and go, wait a second, I want to see things differently. Other people are like, I hate it when you change anything. I don't like any of what you're saying, Robin Black. This is going to stress me out. Those people will pop in. They shouldn't be here now, 35 minutes later, but sometimes they are, because I like to be outraged. But it is what it is, you know, and as my friend Max Holloway would say, I think we'll appreciate things in life we might have not thought before. So it might be a positive, bud. Boxing MMA 365. Man. Dude, how's Rammer doing? I texted him. We might hang out tonight over Skype. Thanks for all the kindness, you guys. I've been doing a YouTube stream around this time every day, and it's been a real pleasure. It's really helped me think about some of these ideas. It's very difficult. You get a lot of pushback when you say, hey, wait a second, none of us looked up for 30 or 40 years, and we just kept going deeper and deeper down a line of cliches, and though real martial artists, real true martial artists who have fought and fight and train and coach don't talk this way in the gym, and yet then now they do when they sit at the desk. Why are we doing that? That's a very tension-filled thing to say, I want to change the way that I look at this. And what if I lose my job? What if nobody wants to hear it? What if I get kicked off my jobs because I think differently? It's hard, right? But it's worth it. This is the journey. This is what we're on. You don't need to just mimic what you heard. You need to think. And I said this the other day, don't celebrate thinking outside the box. Just understand it's an illusion. It's not real, right? You can explore all of these things and you can enjoy yourself doing it. And hey, I get to do it for a living now, and I'm very fucking thankful, and I'm thankful for all you guys. But I will be watch for my Twitter and Instagram. I've got a bunch of interviews with Bellator athletes coming out. We're talking about some of these concepts, and I'll be back a couple more times to talk about Tony and Gaethje. I'll try to go into it deeper. If you enjoyed this and you're still with me at 35 minutes, please consider sharing it. Thank you so much. It means the world to me. That's it. I will see you tomorrow. Black out.